Welcome to Retro Logic. I am John Cummins, and I have with me Dan Caparello, and we have a special guest this week, John Blanco from the Dads After Dark show. And today we'll be chatting about our holy grails as collectors, bitmap books, and Super Mario 35. So how's everybody doing tonight?
Good. I'm good, John. Thanks for asking. Man, our guest, John Blanco, with us, our first guest ever on episode 2. Last week our guest was ourselves. It was interesting.
First guest.
Yeah. How was everyone's weekend?
Oh, man.
Yeah, it was a weekend.
That good, huh?
It was a thing. We went outside and actually walked around. We did like some hiking. And my kids hate hiking. So we've largely just stayed inside all weekends because we're not on lockdown per se, but we're still.
Y'all live in the wrong state to hate hiking.
I like hiking, but my kids are like, "Hey, we're gonna go on a gorgeous hike," and they're like, "Oh." So, but we actually did go out, and they actually did have a good time. So it was nice to get some air, and so.
We did some outdoors as well. I don't know if you could call it hiking, but we have a nature center that we walked around.
Nice. Those are always good. I did a little bit of outside, but I was filming a wedding, which meant I was running most of the time, and just so now my legs are all gone. So that was fun. That was good. It was good to get paid. Got to keep the income coming in.
Do you get abused as a photographer? We always hear these horror stories.
Videographer.
Of a videographer. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I didn't realize that.
There's
was
a big
offensive
difference.
To videographers. People screaming.
Abused.
Yeah, come over here, get a video of this over there and over this, and I don't know. I've just heard some horror stories.
No, I did. Videographers don't usually. Yeah, photographers do. I've been to weddings where the photographers are just chewed out all day, and I'm like, man, I'm really sorry that sucks, because I'm just a fly on the wall, really. I'm just getting good B-roll of candids and stuff. So. No, I would never shoot. I would never do photography. It looks like a friggin' nightmare.
Do you you edit the wedding videos when you're done, or okay?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'll do all the edits, and I will edit other people's work too, but I really don't like doing that because I have no idea what it's just kind of looking at somebody else's puzzle that's half done and okay, I guess I gotta pick it up somewhere. It's really not fun, but I'll do whatever. But yeah, that was my weekend. I worked, so. Good deal. Let's talk some video games.
Yeah. So something we usually do when we get started here is we talk about this week in gaming history, and we talk about some games that came out on, not always on the day, but the week. And so the first one is Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island, which came out 25 years ago on October 4th, 1995. I think this was a Retro Rewind game not too long ago, so you all have some experience with it.
I didn't play this game when it came out.
You didn't?
I didn't. 95 was the beginning of... how everybody has an era where they didn't play games? That was my second year of college, and I didn't even have a TV for a year. So I missed a lot. 95 to 98, I missed a lot. But I did come back and play it, and I love the Yoshi games. But this one I don't think I played as much as the other ones.
Yeah, I always forget how old you are.
When you played it... yeah. That's
why
he's on the retro show.
Yeah, it's we're 9, and this guy's in college.
Yeah.
So, John, did you play it on the Super Nintendo the first time you played it, or
No.
was it Game Boy Advance, DS?
I think it was 3DS or something. I can't remember, but I didn't play it 2 years later. I had played other Yoshi games before, and then I came back to this one. I was like, okay. I mean, I didn't have the nostalgia factor when I finally did play it, but I love all the Yoshi games. They're so cool. The baby crying is super obnoxious, though.
Yeah, I think the first time go ahead, Dan.
Those say they had to punish you somehow, because you basically can't die in that game.
Yeah, it's very hard. I think the first time that I played this game was on Game Boy Advance, the re-release. I think it was
it
3, maybe.
wasn't it
or...
one of was it one of the Super Mario Advance games?
It was. I think it was 3,
It was.
but I'm not sure.
I think you're right about it being 3.
You know, they have the awesome numbering for those games.
Yes.
Super Mario 3, Super Mario Advance 4.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, the Game Boy Advance version is the worst version.
The sound it
Just 'cause
definitely
of the
takes a big
limited-
hit.
Well, and the buttons are so limited on that controller, so they had to like map stuff weirdly and
Oh yeah.
yeah. And I didn't
Was
play
it-
it at launch either. I played it years later, but it wasn't too much further into the like it was. I think I got it when like a little bit after the N64 launch when Super Nintendo games were like super cheap, and so I scooped up a bunch of stuff like that. And actually, I think I played Yoshi's Island before I ever really even got into Super Mario World, which I didn't have at Super Nintendo launch for some reason. But yeah,
That's a good
it's
thing,
always been one of my favorites.
Does it
What?
seem odd, like that they called this Super Mario World 2, and like Mario's not in this game, right? It's just Yoshi and Mario babies. So
Yeah, who is supposed to be Mario
right, sure.
as a baby.
Yeah, but it's not like what we think of as a Mario game. And we see this a lot.
No.
We've seen this a lot where Japanese games come to America, like Contra Force, and like where they brand it a certain way because they think it'll sell better.
Yeah, they
But,
try to
like,
attach
this
it to
was-
something.
Yeah, like this is not Super Mario World 2. You know, this is Yoshi's Island. It just seems like
It's-
they put that on
yeah.
there for sales.
Well,
Some might say it's Donkey Kong Country 1.5.
yeah,
With Yoshi.
with Yoshi. So I think this is
Well, just because it follows that formula more than it does a Mario game, where it's much more like character driven, and you're on like one path, right? You can't really jump around in a world like you can in Mario World.
it's a Nintendo move that reminds me of like Super Mario Land 3, whenever they change it over and make it Wario. It's the same thing, it's not a Super Mario Land game, but that's what they called it.
Yeah, exactly.
Similar time frame
New
too.
funky version.
It's a business decision.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, they got to sell games, so
You gotta put Mario's name on it if it's gonna sell. Now this second game in gaming history, John, is Mortal Kombat 3, and Mortal Kombat I don't have any experience with, so somebody else is gonna have to talk about it.
So
You never played Mortal Kombat?
Nada.
What?
Not for any extended period of time. At friends' houses for 5 seconds.
So when this game came out, I probably rented this game enough times I could have bought it 3 times. I mean, when you're a kid, you don't really have the funds to buy a game, but you can talk your parents into renting it all the time. So I played quite a bit of Mortal Kombat 3.
Yep.
Who is your main?
Sub-Zero is usually my guy. I like to keep it old school.
Sub-Zero looked
were
really,
you a fan-
really cool in this one.
Yeah, he had the big scar on his eye, and
Yeah, because he didn't have the mask on, right?
yeah, no mask.
Yeah.
The robots that they introduced in the third game were pretty cool too. Was it Cyrax and Sector? And
Yeah.
Smoke?
Just to age myself a little bit on this, we had this arcade machine in our dorm at college, and so I played it quite a bit. I was actually my Mortal Kombat main is Melina, and I always like to use her for her cheap little telekick thing.
Yeah.
But they didn't. I don't think she was in Mortal Kombat 3. She was like in Ultimate.
Yeah, she was an Ultimate.
Mortal Kombat 3.
Yep.
So I don't think I ever had a main in Mortal Kombat 3. I would just use, Sub-Zero or Scorpion or anybody. I could never remember the moves, so whoever I could get around the easiest. But if I could cheese in Mortal Kombat, it's always Melina if she's available.
Yeah, I played a lot of Mortal Kombat 3, but I don't think it was as good of a game as Killer Instinct. I think I enjoyed Killer Instinct a lot more on Super Nintendo.
Now, if we're talking Super Nintendo fighting games, I gotta throw my favorite Super Nintendo fighting game in the ring, and that is Primal Rage.
Oh,
Ugh.
I thought you were gonna say Clay Fighter.
And then everybody else goes, ugh.
I have Primal Rage. It's not bad.
You could be a dinosaur. It's a good game.
The moves were so hard to like nail down, and it was so clunky, like getting the dinosaurs to move around.
Right, but I didn't know any of that when I was like, how old was I? 11, trying to play this game. I just was like mashing buttons, running around as a dinosaur, eating the audience in the background. I was like, cool. This is my favorite game of all time now. This is great. All I want to do is be the big ice gorilla and beat people up.
Oh yeah, and the little
or be that snakehead guy.
Yeah, Vertigo.
Yeah, see, that's what's
how do you remember the snakehead guy in Primal Rage?
I played a lot of Primal Rage. I went through like a phase where I played fighting games like, and Street Fighter 2 and Turbo, and that was the thing to do. I mean, and especially, you're a 10, 11-year-old kid, and fighting games were like, oh, I get to play these things, for the first time. Not telling my parents about it, but
there's blood.
But everybody knows the characters in Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, and I think it just drops downhill after that.
Yeah.
The other thing about Mortal Kombat 3 that's interesting, I think, is that was the last 2D Mortal Kombat. That was the last two-dimensional one, and then it went sort of like 3D-ish, and that's when I stopped playing Mortal Kombat for 1,000 years.
Yeah, I mean, they went back to...
Was Mortal Kombat Trilogy an actual trilogy, or was it its own game? I think it was its own game, right?
Trilogy was a re-release on 64 of 3, pretty much.
Oh, okay.
It was
2D, but it was a re-release, so...
Yeah, it was kind of if I remember right, and I might be totally off on this, but I think it was basically 3 Ultimate, but on 64 because 4 tanked. Like, 4 was really bad when it came out.
Yeah, I remember that. Well, John, tell us about your favorite game of all time here. That's on its anniversary just hit.
So up next is Ogre Battle 64, Person of Lordly Caliber. This was 20 years ago on October 7th, 2000, and I was 100% in on this game. I can't even tell you how many times I beat it. This was probably the only real RPG on the 64 that's worth mentioning. Unless you guys are fans of Quest 64 or something.
Yeah, the Nintendo
that would be
64.
A negative.
Can we curse on this podcast? I should have asked beforehand.
We try not to.
Okay,
we try not to.
So the Nintendo 64 is a horrible system, and Ogre Battle. I've heard of Ogre Battle. I did not know it was called Person of Lordly Caliber. That has to be the worst name for a game I've ever heard in my life. It's a person. Usually it'd be like, ninja of lordly, demon of lord. It's like, it's a person of lordly caliber.
He is a person. I don't know. It's really bad. It's
quite humanly.
It's probably one of those that in Japan it probably translated something different, and this is what we got.
Totally.
Like the Japanese found out what we translated it to, and like, who did that? You got it all wrong.
But now what you guys might not know, and the listeners might not know, is that this game is one of John's holy grails missing from his collection. He hasn't quite scrounged up the courage to spend the $80 to $100 to pick up a copy of the game.
Yeah, it's one of those that I owned as a child, and I have no idea where it went. It's like one of those games. It's like a lost sock. You had it. It's somewhere. You don't know where it would have went. So I know that the minute I buy it, I'm going to find my copy, and I'm going to be upset. So I haven't pulled the trigger on it, and I mean I have it on all the Virtual Console too. So I'm not in a hard spot where I can't play it. It's just one of those I'd really like to have back in the collection eventually.
One of the best things about buying retro games is that they don't lose their value as soon as you buy it. Like if you go to a store and buy a Switch game and take it out of the shrink wrap, you can sell it for like $10 less. I mean, you can't sell it for the price you paid. But with a retro game, if you bought it and then found it, you could just sell it for the same price that you paid for it.
Yeah, it's true. Or more. This
Or
game
more.
only seems to be going
Yeah.
up right now. So
Yep.
Yeah, I've been keeping my eye out for you, and they just
Yeah,
don't.
it's
just so hard.
every
to
time
find.
I get, I'll get one on the run on eBay, and somebody will outbid me at the last minute and take it.
It was Dan.
Right? Yeah, it's Dan.
How about-
Dan's been buying them up for the stories. He's saving them.
Well, yeah,
How big is this series? There's been a couple games of Ogre Battle, right? Isn't
So,
it like
yeah,
a tactics game or
actually,
or is this RPG?
This is it's a grid-based RPG. So your party is laid out on a 9x9 grid, and it can different units take up different amounts of spots. But it's not a tactics game like Final Fantasy Tactics. Your battles don't take place on a grid. Your battles take place on a map, and then you run across enemies, and then you go into a battle sequence that's turn-based. It's definitely different. It's a sequel to the Ogre Battle, the Black March, or Queen of the Black March, or something like that. March of the Black Queen.
Yeah.
Person of the Black March.
Super Nintendo.
Yeah, so I can't remember the.
Super Nintendo,
Yeah.
right?
It's probably another one of those
Yeah.
with an obscure name that in Japan is probably something totally different. But there is a Tactics Ogre that is a tactics strategy game. I think it was also on Game Boy Advance, just like Final Fantasy Tactics.
Ogre Battle, the March of the Black Queen.
Yep, that's it. I had the right words; they just weren't in the right order. And I actually never
got a
played the
price there,
first
John?
game. I think-
The first one was a Super Nintendo one. There wasn't one before that.
I don't know that there was. I think the Super Nintendo one was the first one, and it's even
And
more
is that
valuable.
an Atlas?
Yeah, it's
Is that
Atlas.
an Atlas joint?
Yep.
It sounds like an Atlas joint.
Yeah,
What are
and
those
I
going for? The Super Nintendo ones.
Ooh, it's probably like $180 by now.
Yeah,
Got to get it, man.
all those RPGs.
I don't have any nostalgia for the first game, so I'll pass on that.
Sell some of those amiibo behind you. Those aren't doing you any favors.
I'm sure they are. They're a decoration.
They look pretty, yeah. Awesome. Well, this leads us into our discussion topic for this week, which is we're going to talk about some of the games that got away, the games that are missing from our collections that we're just like, God, if only I had this game, or if I had the courage to spend the money to get it, I could. And we'll go around the horn. We'll do like 1-1-1. And John, you already went with Ogre Battle, and I'm sure you have more. So we'll let Zablanc go ahead and tell us something that's not in your collection that you were just, ugh, I know you're the man of 10,000 games, but there's got to be something in your collection you're missing.
Yeah, I've been collecting retro for 6-7 years, and I never thought I'd hit a point where like like one of those people that said, "Oh, I have everything that I kind of want on that system." And for many years, I was like, "No, get all the filler. You have to get everything. It doesn't matter." But yeah, no, I'm at a point where I feel like I've gotten everything that I sort of desire and want, but there are some things that do elude me. A couple of let's just say holy grails that I actually have. Battle Chess. I have a sealed copy of Battle Chess for the PC. This is not something that's worth a gazillion dollars. I think I paid $20 for it. But like a lot of the things that I value the most that I'm going to call a holy grail are going to be the things I played as a kid. And if there's one thing that I have more nostalgia for than like NES is like old PC games. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. And like I own all the King's Quest games, but one of the holy grails that I'd love to have but has eluded me is the original King's Quest on the IBM PC Junior. And if you remember, I don't know if you remember this or this is even something you care about or even played, but the lineage of King's Quest is that when the PC Junior was coming out for IBM, they kind of asked Sierra about making a game. And so King's Quest was like an exclusive title for the PC Junior. And then the PC Junior just tanked. It like didn't do anything at all. And so Sierra sort of re-released it. I think they made some changes to the game too, and they re-released it, and then it became like the great series that we all know and love, and the more colorful boxes. But if you look for the original box of King's Quest, it's this silver box with this genki looking knight. It looks terrible. I think the last time I looked, the game was like $150 to $200. It's hard to find a copy that's kind of in pristine condition. It's one of those, cardboard boxes that just looks crappy. So that one is definitely on my list.
Now, do you have the ability to play these old PC games somehow?
So I like to collect the boxes. I like to have the discs.
Right.
I like to have the manuals, because a lot of times the games would refer to the manuals, and I just like having the actual manual next to me. But for the most part, I will play on DOSBox and just have some abandonware version of the game. Excuse me. So yeah, I will but I'll often say I'm not going to play this game until I get it physically. And there's a bunch of Sierra games. I'm a huge fan of the Sierra games that use the text parser. And there's a bunch of games that I want to play that I'm like, no, I want to buy it first physically, get the manual, and then play through. But yeah, I've never used any of the discs or whatever, but I love having them.
Wow.
And Sierra is just like the most nostalgic company to me. I played so many of those games. So yeah, I really want that King's Quest, first King's Quest. Another one is a GBA Micro. I don't have a GBA Micro, and it's the only...
You don't have a Game Boy Micro?
I don't have a Game Boy Micro, as John is reaching for his.
That surprises me. Right, there it is.
Dan, it surprises me
I don't
too.
have one either.
I've been collecting for years, but actually, the Micro is actually one of those things that actually has been expensive for all the years I've been collecting. I can't say that it was cheap at one point, and then I didn't get it, and I regret it.
Right.
So, it's really expensive, and I want to get it in the box, and it's like $400, $500, and then I'm like, oh, you know what, I'll just get it without the box, but I want to get the Famicom one, like the Japanese Famicom one.
Yep.
And
you're still going to spend $300, $400.
Yeah, it depends on the condition, but they're still pretty pricey, and they don't have a bright screen, and they're probably not comfortable to hold.
They're very not comfortable.
Yeah, and I love the
Confirmed.
SP101s, the bright screens. So, yeah, I don't know if I'll ever have one, and but I want the Famicom one. That's all I know.
I was gonna say I've got my
Delicious.
SP also.
SP.
I love the
good.
SP.
Yeah.
So,
I had tons of nostalgia for the SP for sure.
and then the last thing on my list of games I really want to get, but they're usually like too expensive. I just don't see them actually. Are the Leisure Suit Larry games? I played Leisure Suit Larry as a kid. Don't tell my mom.
Nice.
You and Jesse.
He loves Leisure Suit Larry, obviously. But I played Leisure Suit Larry 3. I'm not sure how I got a copy of it as a kid. I really don't. I used to go to like Egghead Software and some of the PC stores, and somewhere along the way I bought Leisure Suit Larry 3, and they let me. There was no rating system, and I just remember the beginning of that game. They do like a quiz to see how old you are. Like you say, I'm over 18, and they're like, oh, are you? Okay, here's a quiz. And they ask you like these old questions about things that happened in the 70s and 80s, And they were like super hard, and you didn't have like an online, system to go look them up.
Yeah, Google.
So we just
Right,
sit
you
there.
can just Google it.
Yeah, you had to get like
Sorry,
4 or
I
5 of
don't
them
understand.
right to get the full... Quiet, Siri.
Yeah.
You had to get like 4 or 5 questions right to get the full unrated version of the game. And there was this like woman who was like, she would raise her blinds every time you got one right. And then if you got all of them right, she would raise her blinds all the way and take off her top. And it was like, oh, sweet, I did it, I'm in. So I've always loved that series. I love the first game. I'm not sure if I played the second game or not, but I want to own all of them. And I don't have any of them. They just elude me. And they're hard to find.
Wow.
I mean, I'll find King's Quest
Yeah.
all day. But yeah, Leisure Suit Larry is hard to find. So if anybody wants to buy it for me, go ahead.
You might have to see if
All
Jesse
right.
has them. You might be able to persuade him to let go.
He couldn't sell those. It's his namesake.
Yeah, I don't know that he'd want to. You probably
like
couldn't
me-
pry them from Jesse's cold dead hands.
Right, it's like me selling you my Bayonetta games. Not happening.
No.
What about you guys?
All right. So I'll go next. So the first one, I talk about it all the time, is Gotcha Force on the GameCube. And this is a game that I'll be brief because I talk about it constantly, and I'm sure you'll hear me talk about it again. I played it a ton when it first came out. I probably put 200, 300 hours in this game because it's that long. I mean, it's kind of like an arena battler, like third-person game where you collect like toys, kind of like was around the same time as like when Pokemon craziness was happening, so it had to be like collect them all or whatever. You collect these toys and then you play as the toy in the arena, and there's all these boss battles and stuff. It's really fun, and it's a Capcom game, and for a long time it was like $50-$60, and that was kind of expensive for a GameCube game when like the Wii U was out. $50-$60. And then people started to like realize that it was awesome and that it was a Capcom game, and then it's astronomical pricing now. I mean, if you see one for $300 now, that's like a good deal. That's like a pretty good price for that game. Wow. So I at this point I'd be fine with just a disc that works, because I'd really just want to play it. I don't even need it to be in that good a condition. Like, does it play? Cool. And I've emulated it, but GameCube emulation is a little wonky, so it's never perfect. So that's a huge one for me. That's definitely number one on my list. Another one that I would like to actually, I'll let John, I'll let you go next while I think about the next one, because I did not prepare.
So the first one I could think of off top of my head is probably the first issue of Nintendo Power Magazine. I don't have one. I've got, I think...
That's not an expensive one, though. I mean, you could see them up there for like $30-$40 on eBay.
I think they've gone up a little bit. I agree with you. They used to be that price, but they've gone up now.
They've gone up, yeah, and it's hard to find one that's in pretty decent shape. I don't want the rags. I want to find like a pretty decent one.
That would be cool. I want that.
Do you have like issue 2, 3, 4?
I think I have the first.
How low can you go?
I think 5. So I'm missing the first 4, but I think after that I have all the way up to 100, and then I've kind of got some missing holes after that. But it's just whenever I've got a checklist, and whenever I go to a bookstore or go somewhere where I'm looking for things, I look at my checklist if I find a magazine and see if it's on there, because there's I don't even know how many issues there are. I think it's over 300 issues. So
the last one is 275, 280.
Do they really do that many?
Yeah, it was a good run. Yeah. But anyway, there's too many for me to remember how many which ones I have with the kind of holes that I have.
Right.
So I had to create a checklist on OneNote and just check it every once in a while and see where I'm at.
I love Nintendo Power, and I have a good chunk of them. I have like issue 8 through 110 with some missing here and there, and they're just it's just a slice of time. Just like you open it up and it's like, oh, I'm back in 1997, and here's an ad for a new N64 game, and here's the Rumble Pack is coming out. It's all like, I get so like giggly and happy when I read a Nintendo Power magazine. I love them.
And I think I got at least 10 issues from you. They were in that.
Yeah, you bought some from me before before the store even opened. You were like, "Do you have any Nintendo Powers?" I was like, "Yes." Who are you?
If you want a good,
you collect.
Oh, go ahead.
Do you collect Nintendo Powers, Blanco?
I do not. I have a handful, usually just like probably like issues in the 200s or something that like people were just practically giving away.
Yeah.
But I did take like the posters out of them, and I have like a wall with all of them. I was gonna say, if you want a spiritual successor, Nintendo Force magazine's really cool.
Yep.
And their cost, it's like $5 on Patreon, and they only charge you every other month. They do the magazine every other month, so it's like $5, and you get a physical magazine in the mail, and it comes with a poster. I love it. It's not as good as Nintendo Power.
No, not quite.
Nintendo Power is magical. Especially, I love the top 10 lists and like the best sellers and all that, and like Zelda and Mario were always on the top of the list. But it's a good magazine to get to.
Yeah, Nintendo Power was first party, so it's kind of hard to beat Nintendo making their own magazine.
And every page is just so detailed, and it's so rich.
Yeah.
I have been buying Nintendo Force since the second year, so I think I'm missing the first 6 issues. And I buy the double pack, so you get 2 issues for I think $8.99. And I leave one sealed and then open the other and get the poster out and read. So
that's smart.
Fancy. Yeah.
Yeah, I think my first one was the Waluigi one because it was just so beautiful, and I was like, I have to get this magazine.
That poster is so good.
Yeah.
with all the different Waluigis.
I mean, gosh, I would.
That's a really good price for a $5 for a magazine.
Dude, I would pay $5 for the poster. I mean,
yeah, the posters are awesome. Yeah, I've got the Smash Brothers Ultimate poster that came with it. I've got it framed.
Oh, that's sweet. Yeah, they're awesome.
And that's where I got. Well, you've seen this, John, but the old Peach Papercraft. I put mine together.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Since I got an extra one.
Yeah, that was a cool one. Yeah, sometimes they put those little bonus goodies in there. It's so cool. But yeah, I want that.
Y'all
first.
are selling me on this. I might have to go check it out.
It's like totally worth it.
It's like $2.50 a month, essentially.
I know. I pay more than that to the Nintendo dads. They don't give me anything.
Yeah, where's the Nintendo Dads magazine?
Yeah.
one of the editors is in our gaming group here in Denver, so I guess I have to say that. Cool. Like, it was sponsored by. He lives up in Fort Collins. He's actually like a Guinness World Record Nintendo collectible. Like, you've probably seen pictures of them on the internet. It's insane.
Yeah, he's got like Mario stuff.
Yeah. So Brett Martin. So
awesome.
Hey, Brett.
Rad.
That's cool.
So I thought of another one, and that is I would love to have a working Virtual Boy with some of the games that go to that, mostly for the novelty of it, because you don't like play a Virtual Boy.
Oh, sure you do.
I mean, you just kind of have it. And well, I mean, yeah. But it's just kind of like the missing like console of the Nintendo retro thing, where it's just like it's just here and gone so quickly.
Very quickly.
I remember living through the era and being like, oh, this is cool, but there's no way that I'm going to buy this. It's kind of weird, clunky, whatever. And now it's just such a novelty. Like, it's so novel, and I would just love to have one hanging up in my room here and be able to whip it out every once in a while at parties and say, like, hey, look at this thing. 5 minutes only, you'll burn your eyes off.
Are we still talking about the Virtual Boy here now?
Yeah.
So I know you have one, John. What games do you have for yours?
I don't have all of them. I think I'm missing all the pricey games. I have most of all the common games, but I need like NES Funksters. Oh my god, I can't remember.
Nestor's Funky
Bowling.
Bowling.
Bowling. I was thinking his name was the funk part. Waterworld,
Funkster,
3D Tetris, like those games.
Do you have
just the expensive
Panic
ones.
Bomber?
I have Panic Bomber.
That's a good game.
There are, because I think you and I were both disagreeing with Dan a little bit. Like, there's some fun games to play. You can't play it for a long period of time.
No.
That's what I was saying. I'm not saying the games weren't fun. I'm
Yes,
just
you
saying, like, you're not going to sit there for 2 hours and play Virtual
You physically
Boy, you know
cannot.
what I mean?
No, it's draining.
Right.
But the game that nobody talks about is the baseball game. And I'm a big fan of baseball, but one of the first games I got was baseball. I actually bought it sealed and then unsealed it. But baseball is really fun. I know. I don't know if it's worth that much or not, but baseball is really fun, and that's about it.
Wario
Wario
Land
game.
Wario
Yeah.
Land's good. I have Wario Land, Panic Bomber, Tellero
Red
Boxer's not bad.
No, that's not bad.
I have that one, and then I think I have Mario Tennis and Mario Crash. Is that
Yes, Mario Clash.
Mario Clash.
or Clash? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
That
think
would
I've got
that
5.
would be about another three. That'd be about another $300 purchase for me if I were to go and invest in a Virtual Boy and some games. And I don't know which one I want more, Virtual Boy or Gotcha Force. It's kind of up in the air with that one.
If you get the Virtual Boy, you gotta try to get it in a box, because the box is the most '90s awesome thing in Nintendo collecting history.
I don't have the box.
You know I love
but
the 90s.
Yeah, I think it looks awesome.
Yeah, I've got the box. I've got the box right up there, and I would never sell it. It's pure '90s. It's unbelievable. So you have to get the box. But yeah, no, it's good. There's good games, but it's just one of those things where it's not like a game you're gonna like settle into for 10, 15 hours, and generally you'll start playing and going, "Oh, this is really cool. I want to get through this whole game," and then you die and have to restart an area, and then you're like, "Okay, I'm getting a headache." Like Red Alert is really good.
There's
That's
no.
like
There's
the shmup.
there's no
the Red
RPGs
Alert.
for the Virtual Boy.
No, there's.
Oh
there-
yeah,
no.
Red Alarm.
Yeah,
There's
Red Alarm.
there's
Yeah.
the Jack Bros. It's a spin-off of the dang it, was it Shin Megami Tensei?
Red Alarm is a.
Is it? No.
Oh yeah.
Is it
It is.
really?
Yeah, it is.
Oh my god.
It's not an RPG.
Now, Red Alarm
it's like
was
an
a-
action
wha-
game, but similar.
That's
Sorry, Dan.
Red
Go ahead.
Alarm was an Argonaut joint, wasn't it? Wasn't that like pre-Star Fox? Or was that around the same time? I want to say Red Alarm was Argonaut.
Well, it definitely
looked
would have
like
been pre-Star
Star
Fox because the Virtual Boy was in '95. So
When did Star Fox come out?
it would have been before '95, I think. Probably
93.
93,
All right, we're finding out.
94?
We're finding out right.
Yeah, Star
now.
Fox is 93.
That's what I was thinking. As I
Yeah,
say,
it's,
by the time '95 rolled around, you were almost done with Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
I am wrong. I was wrong. It was not Argonaut Studios. It just seemed like their kind of thing, didn't it? But I was wrong.
Yeah, Red Alarm 95.
Oh, I was thinking of that Game Boy game. They had a Game Boy game that had vectors and stuff. I forget.
Oh yeah, that was
Right?
Argonaut.
Yeah,
can't-
X. It's just called X.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking of. Anywho's, John, what is your third Holy Grail?
Man, there's got to be something, but I can't think of anything off the top of my head that I just absolutely need to go buy. That's a Holy Grail.
Yeah, you guys, y'all's collections put mine to shame, but I'm happy. I'm happy with mine. I mean, it's mostly just stuff that I like, you know, and I'm not gonna go crazy with it.
I do like
famous last words.
I do like collecting the Nintendo Power Players Guides, and there's still a few, like the Super Nintendo ones, the real early ones. They're kind of harder to come by. I don't have Super Metroid yet, and I definitely don't have Earthbound. There's a good one. I don't have a copy of Earthbound, so that'd be a nice one to get a hold of eventually.
In the box, it's
Yeah,
like
that's
going
true.
for like 1,000 now.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I-
it has to have the
I
guides.
used-
insane.
I used to have Earthbound. I was like trying to get it, and I negotiated a price with someone on eBay, and I think I got it for like $450 or something like that. It was like a great price at the time. And then I was a consultant, and I was having some like payment issues with my client, and so just out of fear of running out of money and not paying bills, I sold it. I made like a $50 profit, but now it goes for like 1,000, and I'll never get it again. Very sad.
Yeah, that's a lot of money for that one.
That's very sad.
Yeah. I have one other one
That's rough.
I just thought of. I'm surprised I didn't remember this
Yeah.
before. Bayonetta Non-Stop Climax Edition for the
For the
Switch.
Switch.
So this was a Japanese-only release, and
Yeah.
when they re-released Bayonetta,
Oh.
Bayonetta 2, it's the only edition that
title.
has both. I don't see that's a title, John. It's the only edition that has both games physically.
And you get
I
the
have the-
steelbook.
Yes, but I have the UK version, and it only gives you, I think, Bayonetta 2 physical. They didn't come out with one over here, but I have the UK one, and I want the nonstop climax edition, and it has hovered around $300 to $400 since it was released a couple years ago, 3 years ago now, I think.
I was gonna
I'll
say, you
never
have the
have it.
physical copy of 2.
I have the physical copy of 2. They've never released a physical copy of 1, either on the Wii U or the Switch. And
No.
I have the UK version that doesn't have the physical. I just want the nonstop climax edition, and I check the prices every so often, and it's just never come down in price, and I just can't justify it.
It's kind of like that Mario Kart 8 steelbook. I didn't get a hold of one of those whenever I'd already owned Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, so I didn't. It was one of those where Best Buy released it like 6 months later or whatever. And now the steelbook goes for like $60 by itself. I'm like, man, I'm
Oh
not
my
buying a
gosh.
steelbook for $60.
I'm not a big fan of steelbooks.
I
don't know about you guys.
thought of my last one, and this is a silly one, but it comes with a story behind it. I just want a fully functional Super Nintendo mouse. Twice I have purchased one, and twice it did not
What
work
was wrong with it?
for one reason or another. One of them, neither of the buttons worked.
Ooh.
And I took the whole thing apart and cleaned it, and it's just something with the internal workings of the like switch in there that just doesn't want to work. And then the other one I had wouldn't even move or anything.
You know what
And
the Super Nintendo mouse reminds me of how crappy mice were in that time period with the little ball.
The ball.
Yes, it was so bad.
Yeah, big time. But I have Lemmings 2 and Mario Paint ready to go. Have the cartridges, and I'm not playing Lemmings without a mouse. I'm just not going to do it. Lemmings 2 is a game that is totally crazy nostalgic for me. So all I want is a working Super Nintendo mouse. It's not that expensive, $20-$30 maybe. Just need to pull the trigger on it.
You just need
and
an
I'll
honest
be
seller.
Happy. Well, the first first one was my fault. First one was a untested on eBay, and I was like, oh, okay, whatever. It's cheap. It'll probably be fine, or I can fix it. Nope. Second one was a guy on Craigslist. He ghosted me. Fine, whatever. Bad times trying to find a mouse. I'm done. I'm done talking about it.
You probably find the plastic mouse pad all day for
Well, and Hyperkin makes one. Hyperkin makes a third-party one,
Oh.
and I just refuse.
It's called a table.
It doesn't.
yeah.
So, anywho,
Ugh.
what's the next thing, John? What's the next thing?
Hold on. My notes have gone. So do you have them open?
I do. So the next thing is we're gonna chat about this Game Boy box art collection. Wait, the Game Boy. What is it?
Oh.
Game Boy. The box art
Yes.
collection. There, that's what it's called.
So
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. This looks really
I don't
cool.
know if you guys are familiar with bitmap books or have any experience, but these guys make some really awesome books. I have the NES collection and the Super Nintendo collection, and they're just a full. I don't even know how many pages. It's like 600 pages, but they go through and it's a catalog of every like NES game released, and it gives details.
They hit every single one.
I think so. I'd have to look at it, but I'm almost sure it has all of them. It's a huge book, and it's got full printouts of like the box art usually, and gives you all kinds of details about the game. They're just very well put together books.
Yeah, I'm looking through the pictures they have of this Game Boy version, and there's North American and European and Japanese games. Just,
I mean, there's a
looks like it's-
gabillion Game Boy games. How many pages is it? 372 pages? It can't have them all.
So, in this
well, if
this
it's
book here,
two per page.
Oh, just Game Boy.
well, in this book here is just a
Yeah.
box art collection. The two books that I have are more like a compendium of the games for the NES, but they have them for all kinds of retro systems. They did one for Genesis. They've done one for the Sinclair. They've done one for, I think they've done an Atari one. Just you name it. The Commodore 64. They've done a compendium for these consoles, and they're a really neat flip through. The art is really great. You don't have one of my biggest gripes on a lot of these books that are published nowadays is the artwork gets kind of killed by image placement in the book. So like you open it up and like half the image is scrunched up in the middle, like where you're missing part of it.
Oh man, come on.
And these books are just very well put together. I can't say enough about them. But I mean, you're gonna pay for them. They're like a $60 book. They have
they've got one. The Game Boy one deals for $38.
That's not bad.
For just the book, yeah. And then they have like a silver version and a gold version, which is sold out. And I guess that comes with a poster and like a special box to put it in, and all kinds of neatos, limited edition. So,
see, I bought the ones that I have like a nice cardboard slipcover and nice. I think there's like 4 or 5 ribbon bookmarks in them. I believe the Super Nintendo one I backed on Kickstarter, so like I got my name in the book and got some extra things to go with it for being an early adopter. But they're really nice books. I don't know, and I'm always surprised that not a whole lot of people have heard about them. Whenever I talk to people, especially
they're in
collectors.
the UK, so that doesn't help.
Very true.
Based in the UK.
Do you have the Pat Country books? Because Pat Country did the NES and the Super NES books, and they're like every game, and then each game has a review. So it's very similar. You see like game art, you see screenshots, and then there's like a review with a score for every single game. That's the vibe I'm getting from these.
I don't know if I have
these
those
have
books
review
or
scores?
not.
Yeah,
I didn't see review scores on these.
I don't
pages
think
for
these have
but
the review scores.
Well, that
but
one
they
that
have
you're
a description of the game.
Yeah, like I said, the one you're looking at is just the box art collection. It's not a compendium. So I think the compendiums have more information in them.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need the review. I think it's cool to like browse these games because there's so many games that we haven't seen or like you're just not familiar with, and it's cool to just see what it looks like. Something to browse while you're on the toilet. It's sometimes
that's what's up.
People always say about books, right? Well, you could just go online, and it's like, no, there's just something about just sitting there and browsing with a book.
Yeah, that's
it's like the thing about a book is that there's a start and that there's a finish. And if I get on my phone, there is no finish.
Right.
I can't track my progress. But if I'm reading a book, it's like, cool, like I got to page 200, I'm at this point, I can go tomorrow, I can go and look at the rest of it or whatever, I totally get that.
Yeah,
it's different.
Especially with game books. There's just something about it. I told somebody on Discord about trying to get a hold of a copy of the Super Metroid Nintendo Power Player's Guide, and they were like, well, that's online, like you can just look it up. And I was like, yeah, that's not the intention. Like I want to have it in my hand so I can flip through it and look at it. There's just something special about it. Because I mean, that's what we did as kids. You get the game, you get stuck, you go get a player's guide, and it helps you out.
Yep.
What's the dumbest player's guide you guys have ever owned? Just like, why does this exist?
Mario Kart 64.
Mario Kart 64 is my answer. Why did I buy that?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I bought it because it takes
shortcuts. I would think the shortcuts, right?
I guess, but like, there aren't that many shortcuts in like maybe on the Yoshi level.
DK, there's the ramp shortcut. I mean, there's some shortcuts in the game, but I think most of those shortcuts were discussed on the with friends pretty quick. I
think I might have cracked that strategy guide open one time, and like, what am I doing?
Nintendo,'s
in this game.
Wait, was it a Nintendo one or was it the other company?
No, it was Nintendo Power because I got it. It was like a free
Brady
strategy
games.
guide when you get Nintendo Power.
They've got cameras in the stores and they're like watching you guys buy the thing. They're all laughing at the table. They're like, ha,
yeah, we sold another one.
A bunch of morons.
Yeah, I own that one too.
Love it.
I guess Diddy Kong Racing was a little more useful because like you actually had things you had to find on the little island.
Yeah, there was some progression to that.
Yeah,
I have a strategy guide for Pong. No, I don't really.
What does it say? Don't lose.
yeah. Hit the
That was
ball.
the ball.
Hit ball. Yeah,
Ugh.
that's awesome.
Yeah. No, that would definitely be my only one I could think of that was just. I think I just bought it because it was there.
Awesome. We're all about the physical stuff here, so
Yo, yeah.
so no shame in that.
So-
Cool. Let's talk about what we. Yeah, go ahead. What do you got?
I was gonna say we have. I think we had one more topic on there if we have time, and if you guys want to discuss it. I don't know. I don't think you've played it yet, Dan, but we had Mario 35 on there, which is a
Yeah, you guys can
that's a
chat
retro
about it.
game.
I will sit aside and let you guys have it because I have not played it yet.
You can
I
take a
have been
potty break.
into Hades.
You're
Far
gonna need more
too
to potty
deep.
break, unless you're not very good.
I'll take a sandwich break.
Ugh. Yeah, that game. Some of those matches can go on, man.
Oh my god. Yeah.
So explain to me what's going on in this game. It's Tetris 99 with Mario.
I mean, at its most basic example, I guess it's the only thing you could really compare it to that Nintendo has put out. But as far as the mechanics go, it's to me it feels a lot different. I mean, it's different genre, obviously, of game, but even just the thought process behind selecting where you're going to send your trash, for lack of better
Yeah.
terms.
So at its core, you're playing Super Mario Brothers, though, right?
Yeah, but when I'm playing Tetris 99, like, that game just kind of feels overbearing and brutal, and at no point do I ever feel like I'm in control of it. You know? There's a lot of times that, like, things happen, and I'm not even 100% sure where stuff came from, or, you know, just things happen like crazy. At least with Mario 35, like, a lot of times it shows you where the stuff's coming from all the time, and you play. A lot of times I find myself, I'm just playing Mario, and I'm not even really thinking about the other people playing. I'm just trying to get through the level, and there's just something magical about it.
I totally agree. I have the same exact thoughts. When I play Tetris 99, I've never won a round of Tetris 99. But I'm a pretty good Tetris player, and there's definitely a few times where I thought I was gonna get a win, and it just at some point, like, I'll be like near the bottom, and all of a sudden I just get junked all the way to the top, and it's over. And it feels like there's some luck involved. I mean, there's definitely, I know some really good Tetris players that win more often. But yeah, it always feels like, when am I going to lose? At some point, someone's going to just pile on me.
It feels cheap.
It does. And this game, like you said, not only like, if somebody's piling on you, it's just a bunch of enemies that you're approaching, right? They don't drop them on top of you while you're running or something. So you see a bunch, and they're manageable, and with good skill you can get through them. So it's really fun. And then what I love is, like, even with Tetris 99 to this day, like, knowing what the 4 attack methods are. It's like random and like just various people, but in this one it's really intuitive. Like, you can target people that have the least amount of time left, that have the most coins, stuff like that. It's just really intuitive what you're doing.
Even the selection where you can actually select who you want to. Since there's only 35, it's a lot easier to navigate to me.
Yeah, you can see it better.
Yeah, when there's 99 people playing Tetris and you have no idea, like, it's hard to, you couldn't just pinpoint out somebody that you wanted to attack.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And yeah, this one is fun because you can kind of see what level they're on or get an idea. Like if you see snow, you're like, oh, they're on a tough level, because I know those are later in the game.
Yep.
And you can kind of like attack them and know that, like, you can probably really hurt them. But if you see somebody who's on the first level, it doesn't matter how much you attack them; they'll probably be able to handle it just fine anyway.
There's not enough obstacles to make it,
do
difficult
warps
platforming.
Do warps work?
the warp zones are there, but they don't take you to different worlds. They take you to just various levels.
Well,
I went to the one in the first world, and I don't know what the rules are, but they changed it. It doesn't take you like
it's randomized
to
now.
crazy levels.
So if you go to the warp in 1-2, it will randomly pick 3 different levels from different worlds. Sometimes it might be 1-2, 1-4, and then 2-1, something like that. But it's all random. You never know what you're going to get.
What happens if you beat the game? What happens if you just reach the end?
You can't. It's endless.
You can't. As soon as you hit the
can't,
flag,
you just follow.
It like the level ends. You don't even get the fireworks or walking into the castle.
Throws
it
you
just
right in the
starts
next
you at
one.
another level, and then a lot of times it'll just loop you.
Oh,
so
it's random.
You might finish level
But-
1-3, and it'll bring you back to 1-1.
The thing that I haven't figured out yet is what, like, there's no order. And sometimes, like, you can finish 1-1 and it'll take you to 1-2. You finish 1-2 and it'll take you to 1-3. And then maybe you finish 1-3 and it takes you to, like, 2-1. Just randomly.
Yeah.
Or sometimes you'll finish 1-1 and it'll take you to 1-4.
Is there ever a Bowser battle?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And
You
if
can
you
have-
defeat Bowser, you
Yeah.
can send it to somebody else's game, and so they might be seeing Bowser on 1-1. It's
Or-
fun.
Or
It's
on-
really good fun.
That's
Uh,
cool.
Or in the water. In the water levels, you'll have a bunch of Bowsers
Oh
on
my
the
gosh.
floor. And for every...
Somebody was having too much fun in Mario Maker.
One of the things that I do like is whenever you select... If you have multiple people attacking you and you select the attackers, it will send an enemy to everyone that's attacking you when you kill one. So if you try to select random or whoever has the lowest amount of time, it only sends an enemy to that one person. But if you have not, I've had 9 people attacking me at once, and for every Goomba I kill, it sends 9 out to, sends 1 out to everybody. So there's definitely a lot of more strategy to it than just running through the Mario level. But it's addictive. You can really get going on that game and just not even realize what time it is.
Do you guys think that they will extend this game past their March 31st end point?
Yeah. I think they're gonna. I think they might charge for it. I don't know what they're gonna do. I'm not sure why they put an end to it. I mean, Tetris 99 is going forever. I think maybe they're covering themselves to see if it's not popular or something. Maybe they'll put it in stores. I have no idea, but it's
what I want
really
to
fun.
see. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's really fun. And we're doing over on the Nintendo Dad's channel. We're doing the monthly mayhem for it. And we never do a contest that rewards grinding hours on a game. But we are doing a whoever gets to the highest level wins contest. And the reason why we're doing that is because everyone's playing it and everyone's sort of addicted to it anyway. So and there's nothing else to play in October until the end of the month. So, yeah, Dan, you definitely have to play this game.
It's a blast.
I will have to check it out. Just got to beat my dad first in Hades.
And yeah, well, and I will say one last thing. It's winnable. Like my son and I both won it the first night. I've won it a few times, and it's so nice to be able to win.
It's a really awesome feeling whenever especially when it's down to drag out. You've been playing for 15-20 minutes, and that last guy finally falls out, and you're just like, yeah. I don't know. It's awesome.
How long does a match usually last?
If you win, it can be like 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, like
when you get to the end, there's usually like 3 or 4 people who are really good, and it feels like it's going forever. And all you're just doing is just playing Mario, and like, when is this ever going to end? But it inevitably does.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. What I was gonna say is that I hope that whenever the time for this to end comes, and I hope they just go on to like Mario 2 and say, hey, we're going to do Mario 2 in the same fashion, and Mario 3 would even be a blast. If they can just cut out the world map and just make it to where, just like Mario 1, where you finish the level and it automatically throws you into a random other level.
Hey, do Mario 64.
Mario 64 35.
Oh God.
They just keep dropping enemies on you.
Yeah. Oh geez, that would.
Awesome.
That's the thing though is like with the 2D Mario's, killing the enemies can be really rewarding. With 3D Mario's, like especially Mario 64, the enemies are just kind of there most of the time. It's usually the
Avoidable.
platforming that is what gets you.
Yeah. Or take away a platform.
Yeah. Take away a platform.
Can't beat the level now.
Oh, that
Awesome.
happens in Mario 35.
Well, thank you for selling me. Yeah. Thank you for selling me on Mario 35. I will definitely have to give that a go. Definitely. All right, well, let's talk about what we bought, what we've been playing. Mine hasn't changed, so I'm going to skip tonight. But we'll let Blanco go first because he has got the list.
Yes. So I actually haven't bought many games in the last 2 weeks. There's just so many things I've been playing, and I've been doing a lot of Game Pass. So so what I've been playing and what I've bought are different, but you don't have to buy anything on Game Pass, so that's nice. But I did. So I run a gaming group. Well, I don't run it anymore. I actually had created and ran it, but I don't anymore. But I'm a mod now, and we do every few months we get together in a park or in a game shop, and we do like a flea market, and it's just all games, and it's just amazing. And I've already told Dan if he ever visited, we're gonna try to schedule it for when he's here.
I got to do it.
And we hadn't done one in person in 6 months, and we finally did one. Just the pandemic. We did one in a park. We were all socially distanced. We all had masks. It went pretty well. And so I thought I would share what I got at the last one of those, which I think was last month.
Cool.
And I picked up Life is Strange Limited Edition. Always wanted that. I've always wanted to play Life is Strange, and I haven't been able to yet. And yeah, there was like a box set of it for PS4, so I grabbed that. Donkey Kong Land 2 for the Game Boy. Very excited.
I love the Donkey Kong Land games.
I have never played them, Dan. Never played them. I do want to play them.
Get ready for some big sprites.
Yeah. I've had a lot of these Game Boy games. I have a big box of Game Boy games. I don't order them or anything. They're just a big box. And yeah, I'd never even seen Donkey Kong Land 2 in person. I was like, oh, cool, they have one. All right, I'll grab it. I got Game & Watch Gallery 2.
There's a 3 too.
Yeah, and if I see it, I'm going to grab it. I got Game & Watch Gallery 2. I got Killer Instinct, like we were talking about before, for Game Boy. I'm sure it's amazing.
It's awesome. I have it. I played it a lot.
Really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Radar Mission, Toy Story 2. These are all Game Boy games. I really like collecting for Game Boy. I find they're cheap, and they're fun, and they're compact, and I actually just got a OG Game Boy with a souped-up high-res screen, so I'm able to play Game Boy games and see them, which is nice. I can see them. It's great.
Nice.
If I can't pick up my analog, eventually I'll be getting one of those too.
Yeah,
you'll get one.
they're a little pricey, but I had sold a bunch of stuff on eBay, so I had a bunch of money in PayPal, and so I just splurged, and I figured if I change my mind, I can sell it for what I paid for it. But man, yeah, I went the first time I turned the screen on and I set it to like the green. It's gorgeous. It's a gorgeous screen. So I'm going to be playing a lot of Game Boy games that I've never played before, so very excited. I also picked up a couple Switch games. I got Lumines finally. That's a game I've never really given a big chance to, but I've always heard good things about it. So at some point I will play it. And then one of the more fun parts of it was I was talking to somebody. I was at a table and I started hearing Sayonara Wild Hearts music. And I was like, oh, somebody's playing Sayonara Wild Hearts. And it was this guy, James, who's a huge Sayonara Wild Hearts fan, just like me. And so we started talking about it. And the guy goes, the guy over there is selling the Switch version that has the patch in it. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, it's got like a patch, like you sew onto like a jacket or something. And I just
That's
walked
cool.
away from the guy and went to the table. It was just like, oh, getting that.
Did you ask him if that was a day one patch?
It was. The funny thing is they sold the version that has the patch in it looks the same as the one you could buy at Best Buy. So it's really tricky. You have to shake the box to really hear it in there. But yeah, I bought it. I had a physical version of Sayonara Wild Hearts, and I bought it again with the patch. So I have the little patch. Where do I got the patch? I got the patch over here. See? Check this out. And it's just this patch. And I don't know what to do with it, but I love it.
Sew it on your shirt.
Yep. I have a few patches for games, and it's like I want to find something to, put it on that's appropriate. Not like a shirt or a jacket, but like some sort of other memorabilia. I don't know. So
Tapestry.
Yeah, but I'm a huge Sayonara fan, and I was so excited to buy that. It's one of my favorite games of all time. So, and then for some stupid reason, I already regret it. I bought Battlefront 1 and Battlefront 2 for the Xbox One. I had promised myself I would never buy a physical game for the Xbox One, and I now have 3. So I don't even know if I'm gonna ever play it. So I might sell it. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. But it was $5 each, and I was like, it'd be cool. So
those are the Star Wars
Battlefront games. Yep. So
they're fun.
Yeah.
If there's still people online to play with, they're fun.
Yeah, the first one doesn't have a campaign. Doesn't the second one have like a campaign?
Kind of.
It had more. Yeah, it's got a campaign too. It's not real in great detail, but it's there.
Yeah, I think I'll probably sell them. I don't know. So,
Sell them for
that's
$5.
what I picked up. I like my Game Boy purchases better, and my Sayonara Wild Hearts.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
can't go wrong with Game Boy
All
games.
right. What you been playing?
So what I've been playing is different. Oh, me? You're talking to me? Which John? Me? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, go for
Blanco.
your
So
plan.
The
I
guest.
played Tell Me Why, Chapter 1. It's on Game Pass right now. It's free. This was a game that got announced during one of the Xbox Series X showcases. But it was like, hey, this game's coming to Xbox One, and it's actually released now. But there's gonna be a Series X version of it, and I was interested in it. So this is the people that did make Life is Strange, and I have Game Pass, and it was there, and they have like all 3 chapters. So I decided I was gonna do a 30-second review of it because I can't buy every game to do 30-second reviews on. And it's only a few hours long. I don't even know if it was a few hours long. And I was pleasantly surprised. I really enjoyed it. It's just a story-based game. There's no action sequences at all. There's like 1 or 2 puzzles in Chapter 1. Otherwise, you're just walking around and doing things that you need to do and progressing the story. It's really cool. When you first start playing... if you've played a game like Last of Us or maybe a couple of other like hyper realistic games, like the graphics are sort of like, these aren't really up to snuff. You know what I mean? But after like a little bit, you move past it, and it's a really interesting story. There's the 2 characters are in there, Allison and Tyler, and there's just a very interesting backstory to them. And then by the time you get to the end of the first chapter, there's like a whole big twist. And I'm like psyched up and ready for Chapter 2. So, that one's really cool. If you have Game Pass and you just want to play a little thing and maybe a game in a genre you might not think you'd like, give it a go. It's cool. So I'm all in for all 3 chapters now. Have you guys ever played like one of these games or like a story game or something like that?
Yeah, I've played some. Is it like a point and click type?
No. I guess. I mean, it's like you move your camera, you focus on something, you press the button.
It's the progression of a point and click game. More cinematic.
When I think of a point and click game, I think of like find a key and then see where that key works, and there's lots of like difficulty and figuring it out, like Thimbleweed Park or something.
Right.
Yeah.
This one's way easier.
That's the closest I've gotten to those kinds of games.
This is just like
straight story.
You end up at a store and you just walk around the store and you look at things and somebody's like, oh, we need to get orange juice, and you just go find the orange juice, and it's not gonna like tax your brain in any way, but it's relaxing. It's just something to play. So no, but I think it's really cool. I think everybody should give that one a try if you've got access to it. The worst, you don't like it, just stop.
Wasn't this
Nice.
one on the
Cool.
Xbox showcase?
Yes, it was totally on the Xbox showcase. I don't know what the
That's where I've
Series
seen
X
it.
version will look like. It might look better, But this game looked pretty good. It's just like I had played Last of Us like 3 or 4 months ago, and it's like, oh, this doesn't look as good as Last of Us. But it's fine. You just, not everyone can make Last of Us, so but it looks good. So, and then I have been playing Animal Crossing. I started a new island. I have a Switch Lite and a Switch, so I decided let me play Animal Crossing on my Switch Lite. I started a new island because I wanted to make a fully Halloween themed island for the fall content.
Nice. So
I called my island Old Hollow, just because it seemed very Halloweeny, and it was under 10 letters. And my character name is Azrael. If you're an SNL fan, harken back to Azrael Abyss. Chris Kattan played a character named Azrael Abyss, who was a bit of an emo. So yeah, and I have this massive. So my whole island is well, not my whole island, but I have 2 major parts of my island that are dedicated to Halloween. One part of the island, just like where the river stream, is just one giant, massive pumpkin farm. There's just like 200 pumpkin seeds planted there. And I'm just going through and finding recipes and making pumpkin things and coloring them all, because there's generally they all have 4 different colors you can do, because there's green pumpkins, white pumpkins, yellow pumpkins, orange pumpkins. And I left all my weeds because I figure that's kind of spooky. So all my weeds are there, all the houses, and there's just tons of weeds, and I've planted pumpkins randomly everywhere, and every house has Halloween decorations. It's cool. I love it. It's just like a whole themed island, and I didn't want to destroy my old island doing it. So I left. I have a second tier. I don't have a 3-tier island. Just there's a second tier in the north, and so I'm saving that because I'm gonna make that a Christmas or whatever they call it, winter or holiday island, part of the island. So it's gonna be a Halloween island on the bottom with all the weeds, and then the top will be completely weed free. Holiday decorations, and that's my goal.
Nightmare Before Christmas.
That's to say, Nightmare
is.
Before Christmas.
I was going to try to call it Halloween Town, but it's way too long. So I'm going to see if I can bring in graphics and have the Halloween Town and Christmas Town. So I've been having a lot of fun with Animal Crossing again. So I only have 1 copy of the game. My wife has it digitally, so I want to visit from one and bring money over to the other, but I can't. So I've been going to my wife's island and just dumping crap all over her beach, and then I'll come back later with my other character and just pick it all up. It's a lot of fun. So
nice. That's awesome.
The last game I will wait for you because you played it. So I'm done.
Me?
Yeah, I'm just gonna wait until you talk about it.
Well, I talked about Hades last week, so I'm not going to talk much about it.
Oh, okay.
Again, and I didn't play anything else. So you could just do a quick impressions if you want.
I'll do a quick. I did a 30-second review on it, so you can go look for it. I love Hades.
It was.
It's just so much fun. Obviously a roguelike. I haven't beat it yet. I've enjoyed my days getting angry at people in our community who have beaten it. Third Strongest Mole has beaten it, and Drew beat it. Drew, Drew. Drew's beaten it, which is just lousy. Drew is not even a good gamer. I don't get it.
He doesn't even like this game.
He didn't even like it. So he's beaten it twice now. And I have a friend at work, Chris, who didn't start playing it till a few days after me. And he's beaten it 6 times in a row now.
Oh,
and he beat it on his 17th run. And now it's just and he can beat it so easily. And I'm just what are you doing differently? He's playing on PC, so I don't know if that has something to do with it. But, I just can't... I usually get killed by Theseus. And then I finally got to Hades one time, and I got halfway through the first phase, and that was it. So, it's really hard. I don't know if I'll ever be able to finish it, but I'm having fun trying.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. I just got to his second phase in my second time fighting Hades, and I think this is my 15th or 16th run. And every time I die, I'm excited to jump back in with a new thing.
Yeah.
So
I like unlocking the keepsakes.
Yeah.
So much fun.
You can't quit playing and getting defeated by a guy named Theseus.
You know, he's not so bad, but he's got the Minotaur with him, and you got to fight both of them, and they're just the bosses are just absolute sponges in this game. It just takes forever.
Ridiculous.
So, and then you have to decide if you want to try to get more power-ups or health. And I'm just the kind of player that's like, give me more health. And I know that the strategy really should be to be as powerful as possible, but it just feels like diminishing returns, and I'm like, I could really use an extra 25 HP, you know? It's definitely a game you need to do all the hard stuff and, you know, like go into get all the chaos weapons and stuff like that. It's really hard, but it's super fun. So I'll be playing it for a while longer.
Yeah. All right, John, what you been playing? What you buying?
I have not bought Hades yet, but you guys are making me think I need to buy this. I bought Castlevania 64. Not for any particular reason. I just wanted a Castlevania game that I didn't own. So I also didn't have any. I never played it as a kid, so I was like, oh, I'll seen it somewhere on sale, so I went ahead and picked it up. It was like $10 maybe.
Oh, that's good.
So I was like, well, I'll take advantage of that and grab that. And I bought Pokemon Puzzle League on the N64, which I'm sure John is like, why are you buying all these N64 games? It's the worst console ever.
Man. I'm telling you.
Because it's the best generation of Nintendo.
You just hate yourself.
Oh. And for people that don't know, Pokemon Puzzle League is basically paneled upon, but with Pokemon. And I did
They
play.
missed such a great pun opportunity there. They you know, Poke Depon. They could have done
Poke
it. But
Depon.
Don't know why.
Oh, because I didn't think of it at the time. But yeah, that's a good one. But no, this game's a lot of fun. I remember playing. This is also the same as Tetris Attack, right? On Super Nintendo.
I think so.
Same gameplay.
That or Tetris 2. I always get them confused.
I think it was Tetris Attack, but I'm not 100% sure. But still, a good puzzle game. This is another one that I think I got it for like $10 or $15. It's just a good deal on it, so I didn't pass it up. And then Dragon Quest Monsters on DS. Or Joker.
I love those games.
Yeah, the Dragon Warrior Monsters on Game Boy was what got me started on those games. And they are fantastic. So I've seen this one, and I never played the DS ones. So I went ahead and picked up the first one, and hopefully at some point I'll find time in my massive backlog of games to pop it in. That's all. That's all I bought this week. I've been trying to kind of tone it down by, try to keep it 5 or less games.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, it gets hard, man. I think I just have my feelers out too many places, and I end up picking up too many things. But I haven't even played any of these games yet, so they're not even on my played list. Mario 35 has been taking too much of my time there, and been trying to play Fantasy Life on 3DS. It was a RPG game that I missed on 3DS. I played a lot of RPGs, but this one kind of went right on by, and I never did play it. I've owned it for a little while now, and somebody again, this always happens. Somebody on Discord will be talking about a game, and I'm like, oh, I have that game, but I never played it, so I get the itch, and I just want to check it out. So I'll throw it in and play it for a little while.
Ooh.
But yeah, it's been pretty fun so far. It's definitely different.
Who's the publisher on that one, John?
Is it Level 5?
I think. No, I think it's Nintendo. Level 5 developed it. I think
Level 5. Yeah, it's.
Oh, there you go.
I think Nintendo did publish.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, sorry, no. Level 5 is the developer, I believe.
I meant developer. Cool.
It's,
Level 5 is good.
It's definitely different. It's basically just, this is like the one game that I think Jesse would absolutely hate, because it's just a massive job system game. He's always complaining about the job systems in all the Final Fantasy games. So this is just like a big game of just that.
All right.
But yep, that's what I've been playing.
Awesome. Well.
It looks like we have a
Well, okay,
community
John.
question, right?
Yay, from our community. We're laughing because it's Blanco's question. John Blanco.
I'm still the community.
You are the community. All right, John Blanco asked, when is a retro game worth keeping in your collection, and when is it worth selling?
That's a great question.
That, whoever asked this question really has their finger on the pulse of stuff. That's a good
It's a good question for somebody opening up a store.
So when I've sold games in the past, it's because I either bought them like on a whim or like didn't. It was like, oh, this might be fun, and then like I never play it, and then one day I'm going through my collection, I'm like, why do I own this and this and this? Get rid of it, get some money in to buy something else I want. Or it's like an astronomically high price for some reason. Like suddenly the game just like shoots up because like Mario Sunshine did that recently. Not Mario Sunshine. When
Paper
Gotcha
Mario?
Force.
What was it? Was it Paper Mario? That's
Yep,
right.
1,000 Year Door.
The new, 1,000 Year Door shot up when Origami King came out. So if you picked it up for $50 or $60 a month earlier, and then it went up to like $120, I might have sold mine then if I had one. But that's a very case by case because there are some games that you just will never sell no matter what the price is. So I guess it kind of depends on the game for each of you. What do you guys think?
So this is a really bad question for me because I don't hardly ever sell any of my stuff. I have been contemplating though, and I've got a few things that are more valuable now, and it's probably the right time to get rid of them because I can just turn around and if I want to play them, I can buy them digitally for a fraction of the price and still be able to play the games. I think I gave an example not too long ago that I've got a bunch of boxed Pokemon games for Game Boy that I've been thinking about getting rid of because I could buy them on the eShop for $10 if I want to play them, and they're just astronomical right now. They're over $300 a piece all day. So I have a hard time holding on to them whenever I could turn around and buy the first issue of Nintendo Power or Ogre Battle and all my Holy Grail.
That's where my Amiibo went. I used to have a lot more Amiibo, and over the years I was just like, I could keep these Amiibo around, or I could sell them and buy some actual video games. And so most of my Amiibo went by the wayside because of that.
Sad.
So no regrets there. I think it was fine.
When I was an older retro collector, I would never have thought to like sell anything. I was just like hoarding whatever I could find for the systems I collected for. But in the last like 3-4 months, I've been pinpointing like stuff that has gotten very pricey that I don't care about. It started with my NES collection. I was trying to collect every NES game until it got to the point where every game I needed was like $500 or more. And I was like, I'm never going to finish the collection. And then, as a collector, you know what that means, right? If I can't get every game, then I don't need these games. So
time to purge.
Yeah, so I started selling all of the really high-priced NES games that I was never going to play. And then I started selling games that had gone up a lot. And I felt like, I turned a profit on that. And then recently I sold my Fire Emblem on GameCube because the price of that had gone insane, over $200.
Is that Path of Radiance?
Path of Radiance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yep.
bought it for like $110 from a local game shop 4 years ago, and now it's I sold it for $240. And I love Fire Emblem. It's right
Crazy.
now my favorite series, but I'm never gonna play that on my GameCube ever. So I was like, so I had a whole bunch of money in PayPal, and that's when I started buying other stuff. But Yeah, so I've been looking around my office and my collection going, okay, what is high price that I can get rid of? So I think that's a good thing to sell. I also like selling things I regret buying. Because sometimes when you see it, and you're like, God, I can't believe I spent $40 for that. And it's like, let me get it out of here so I don't feel guilty about it. But it's always worth keeping the really cool stuff. I bought this a long time ago. I'll show on the camera. This is Corpse Party for the 3DS. And I was in Best Buy and I saw this one time, and it's a big box, right? You can see. So it's like, when you're a collector, when you see big boxes, it doesn't matter what the game is. It's exciting, you know? And it actually comes with these little figurines. They don't interact with the game in any way, but it just comes with these figurines. And I was like, cool. And the game was like $40. I don't know. It wasn't expensive. So I was like, oh, let me get it. It's a big box. I love big boxes. Well, now that game goes for like, it's in the hundreds. And
Dang.
and I've actually played through it, and I'll never play it again. But I don't want to sell it because it has little figurines and it's just cool. So, you know, like I'll hold on to that thing. But, you know, some crappy N64 game or something, once it gets like priced high.
Oh, whatever.
Let me know.
Shut
It's
up.
gone. I got Smash Brothers. Anybody wants Smash? I got Mario Kart. You know.
That's the exact opposite of what happened with Chibi Robo on 3DS. Those big boxes were everywhere with the amiibo in it, and they're still worth $5.
They're not. But the GameCube Chibi Robo is worth quite a lot.
Oh yeah, well, it was a way better game.
Yeah, I have an N64 because I just have all the Nintendo systems except for the GBA Micro. And
With no games.
Yeah, so I have an N64 box, and the funny thing is, it's not just a regular gray one. It is a gray one, I guess, but it's the Toys R Us limited edition with the neon controller.
The green.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, it's like the
atomic green controller.
Yeah. And so, like, I had somebody in my group was like kept asking me if I was going to sell it, and I was like, I don't know, I could. I said I'd have to replace it with another boxed N64, but I still have never sold it. It's just sitting there, and it's like a cool, like, rarer
complete?
version. It's complete.
Is it complete?
Last I checked, it's not worth like $1 zillion, but I would have to replace it with another N64, and I've just never been motivated to do that because it involved buying an N64 again. So, but that's something. Maybe one day that will leave my collection.
I think I have the most common N64, the DK pack-in, Jungle Green.
Right.
Yep.
Those
colored ones. The colored ones are like N64 people love collecting the colored plastic ones. And I still have never.
They're so cool.
I have never in my life seen a box for one of the colored ones, except for the Donkey Kong. But like the strawberry, raspberry, all those colors, I've never seen a box in person.
I think we talked about it on a different show, but yeah, I don't know that I've ever seen one either. I have the Jungle Green, but it's not even in the Jungle Green box like the ones that everyone are looking for. Mine is the Donkey Kong box, which is more common.
I've seen that one, but yeah, like go look for a boxed N64, like the blue or the orange. I mean, they are, man. Everybody threw those boxes away when they got them, I guess, because you cannot find them.
That's weird. That's just weird. I don't know.
Sometimes you just regret
because the consoles themselves, are not super hard to find, you know.
No, they're not.
But I guess they're in enough short supply where like the ratio of who kept boxes and didn't is just that low, you know. N64 in general didn't sell very well, so
it was like 32,000, wasn't it? Or 32 million. Sorry.
I want to say it's, maybe I don't have that.
31 or 32 because GameCube was only 23.
Yeah.
All the Nintendo consoles sold less and less and less and less until the Wii.
Yep.
And then less because of the Wii U, and then more.
Yeah, now it's a roller coaster.
Yeah, I'm keeping my Wii U box just because there's not very many of them.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a hot collector's
That's why
item.
I got a white one.
Yeah,
I think it will be too.
That's why I got a white one. Because the white one's going to be the one that nobody has because nobody bought the 8 gigabyte.
It's true.
Yeah, my sister sent me a picture of her new Switch. She got the Animal Crossing Switch, and she put it on top of her Wii U, and she had a white one. And I was like, "Oh, you got a white Wii U?" I was like, "Don't sell that. That's gonna be It's going to
Yeah.
be much more pricey
Yeah,
in the
for
future.
sure. Oh, good stuff. All right, guys, let's wrap this one up because we are 30 minutes away from our target. Ugh. Although I love talking retro, so I could talk
Now, when
to
you got
all
an
night.
extra person, it's hard to keep that time in.
Hey, Dad Crossing does it all the time, so. But they got nothing to talk about, so.
Yeah.
Anywho, now that we're throwing other podcasts under the bus, thanks for listening to Retro Logic, the official podcast of Blockfort Retro. We are on doing things, and I haven't rewritten this outro, so now I sound like an idiot. Blanco, where can people find you on the internet?
Well, we host, my partner Drew and I host the Dads After Dark show. It's part of the Nintendo Dad family of podcasts. So you can find us on any kind of podcasting channel. We have a YouTube channel as well where we're hosting my 30-second reviews. So just look for the Dads After Dark show. I like doing the 30-second reviews. They're fun to do. They don't take forever. And you get a nice little review in a pretty short amount of time
They're
with
hilarious.
no spoilers because there's just not enough time to spoil anything. So
They're
it's very natural.
They're
And then
really
otherwise
funny.
you can find us on Twitter and Dads After Dark. Or if you want to see how crazy I can be, my personal Twitter, Zablanc. Zablanc. There you go.
You like to stir the pot on Twitter. I've noticed that. You like to
It's
stir the
very
pot.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not a bad thing. Anywho, that's that, and we will see y'all next week or so.
Later, guys.
Yep. Bye, y'all.
All right, that's that.